Tesla, once a shining symbol of innovation and leadership in the electric vehicle world, is facing serious headwinds. In recent months, both its sales figures and stock value have taken a noticeable hit, especially in Europe, where the decline has been particularly sharp. For a company that was once considered untouchable in the EV space, this marks a significant shift in the industry and the perception of Tesla's brand. To put things into perspective, Tesla's European sales dropped by around 45% in January 2025, compared to the same period the year before. In Germany, one of its biggest European markets, the fall was even more dramatic. February 2025 saw Tesla's sales plunge by over 76% compared to the same month in 2024, while the wider electric vehicle market in Germany actually grew by more than 30%. This isn't just a temporary blip, it's a trend that suggests something deeper is at play. At the same time, Tesla's market valuation has also been shaken. The company's stock value has dropped below the $1 trillion mark, a psychological and financial milestone that reflects growing investor concern. Just a few years ago, Tesla seemed unstoppable, with its stock soaring and demand for its vehicles outpacing supply. But now, those same investors are asking tough questions about the company's direction, its leadership, and whether its dominance can continue in such a fast-changing environment. What's surprising is that this decline is happening despite strong growth in the broader electric vehicle market. Across Europe, EV sales are still climbing. Consumers are still very much interested in switching to electric, especially with growing environmental awareness and government incentives still playing a role in many countries. So why is Tesla struggling while the market continues to grow? One major factor is the increasing competition from other EV manufacturers. Just a few years ago, Tesla was often the only real option for buyers looking for a fully electric vehicle with decent range and performance. Today, that's no longer the case. Brands like BYD, Volkswagen, Hyundai, and even newer startups are offering alternatives that match or even exceed Tesla's performance in some areas, often at lower prices. Tesla's once unique market position is being chipped away. Its share of the US EV market, for example, has dropped from a massive 78% just 3 years ago to around 44% today. That shift is happening globally as well. Consumers now have more choices than ever, and they're not as reliant on Tesla to meet their electric driving needs. Another element at play is pricing. Tesla has had to repeatedly adjust its prices over the last year, often cutting them to stay competitive. While this may help with volume in the short term, it puts pressure on profit margins and can signal to the market that demand is weakening. Tesla's price cuts have been more frequent than those of its competitors, and that has led some analysts to question whether the company is struggling more than it's letting on. In Europe, Tesla's pricing strategy hasn't always landed well. In some markets, the price drops have been seen as too little, too late, especially as buyers turn to more affordable or better-featured vehicles from local manufacturers. European buyers also tend to value brand image and reliability, areas where Tesla has faced some criticism, particularly around build quality and after-sales service. There's also the issue of consumer perception, which is becoming an increasingly important part of the conversation. Elon Musk, Tesla's CEO, has become a highly polarizing figure in recent years. His public statements, political opinions, and social media activity have all drawn significant attention, and not always the good kind. Some European consumers have started to associate the Tesla brand too closely with Musk's personal views and actions, which they find off-putting or even offensive. This is particularly true in countries like Germany and France, where recent political tensions and Musk's perceived involvement in supporting far-right political movements have turned off a portion of the market. Although Tesla is a tech company at heart, it's still selling a consumer product, and consumer sentiment matters. From a broader perspective, it's important to recognize that Tesla isn't just being affected by internal decisions or leadership controversies. Larger economic and political forces are at work. Ongoing trade tensions between the United States and the European Union are making it more difficult for US-based companies to operate freely in European markets. Tariffs, regulations, and political friction have all made the business environment more challenging. These challenges aren't necessarily unique to Tesla, but they do hit Tesla harder than some of its competitors. That's because Tesla has relied heavily on its international sales to fuel its growth, and any barriers to that global trade hurt more than they would for a company focused only on domestic markets. Tesla has also made major investments in European manufacturing, including its Gigafactory near Berlin, which now faces more uncertainty as political conditions shift. To be fair, not all of the blame can be placed externally. Tesla's internal operations have also come under scrutiny. Delays in the rollout of new models, concerns over production consistency, and inconsistent customer service experiences have all played a role in shaking consumer and investor confidence. The company's autopilot technology, once seen as a major leap forward, has also faced regulatory challenges and safety concerns in both the US and abroad. Despite all this, Tesla still has a strong foundation. It remains one of the most recognizable EV brands in the world, and it continues to innovate in areas like battery technology and vehicle software. The Model 3 and Model Y continue to perform reasonably well in many markets, and the company's supercharger network is still one of its biggest competitive advantages. In recent times, Tesla has found itself at the intersection of escalating trade tensions and political entanglements, leading to significant challenges for the company. The intricate dynamics between U.S. trade policies, international relations, and the personal political engagements of its CEO, Elon Musk, have collectively impacted Tesla's operations and market perception. The backdrop of this scenario is the intensifying trade war initiated by the U.S. administration under President Donald Trump. The administration's decision to impose tariffs on steel and aluminum imports, aiming to protect domestic industries, has had ripple effects across various sectors, including automotive manufacturing. These tariffs have prompted retaliatory measures from affected countries, leading to a complex web of trade barriers that complicate international business operations. Tesla, as a prominent U.S.-based electric vehicle manufacturer with a global footprint, has expressed concerns over these developments. In an unsigned letter addressed to the U.S. Trade Representative, the company highlighted the potential adverse effects of the ongoing trade war. Tesla cautioned that the imposition of aggressive tariffs could lead to retaliatory measures from other nations, which might directly impact American manufacturers. The letter emphasized the need for careful consideration of downstream impacts to avoid inadvertently harming U.S. companies. The company's apprehensions are not unfounded. Previous trade disputes have resulted in increased tariffs on electric vehicles exported to countries subject to U.S. tariffs, thereby affecting Tesla's competitiveness in those markets. Such measures can escalate costs for domestic manufacturing and pose challenges in international markets, where Tesla seeks to expand its presence. Compounding these external challenges are internal factors related to Elon Musk's political involvement. Musk's close association with President Trump and his role in the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, have drawn significant attention. While some view his involvement as a bridge between the tech industry and government, others perceive it as a potential conflict of interest that could influence policy decisions favoring his business interests. This political entanglement has had tangible repercussions for Tesla. The company's share price has experienced volatility, with a notable decline observed since the beginning of President Trump's second term. Investors and stakeholders have expressed concerns that Musk's political activities might be detracting from his focus on Tesla's core business operations. Such perceptions can erode investor confidence and affect the company's market valuation. The public's response has been equally pronounced. Movements like the Tesla takedown have emerged, advocating for boycotts of Tesla products and urging divestment from the company's stock. These protests stem from apprehensions that Musk's political engagements are influencing Tesla's corporate strategies and aligning the company with specific political ideologies. Demonstrations at Tesla stores and negative publicity campaigns have further strained the company's public image. In Europe, where Tesla has been striving to strengthen its market position, these issues have led to tangible setbacks. The company's sales have declined in key markets, with Germany witnessing a significant drop. This downturn is attributed not only to the broader trade tensions, but also to consumer sentiment influenced by Musk's political stance. The association of Tesla with controversial political figures has led some consumers to reconsider their purchasing decisions, thereby affecting the company's sales performance. The situation is further complicated by the broader implications of the trade war on the electric vehicle (EV) industry. The suspension of programs like the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure (NEVI) initiative under the current administration has created uncertainty for EV manufacturers and related industries. Companies involved in EV charging infrastructure have seen their stock values plummet, reflecting investor skepticism about the industry's growth prospects amid shifting government policies. Despite these challenges, some analysts maintain a cautiously optimistic outlook for Tesla. They argue that while the company's brand has been impacted in traditionally liberal regions, there is potential for growth in conservative areas where Musk's political alignment might resonate more positively. This perspective suggests that Tesla could offset losses in certain markets by capitalizing on opportunities in others, thereby maintaining its overall market position. However, this strategy is not without risks. Aligning the brand too closely with a particular political ideology can alienate other consumer segments, leading to a polarized market perception. For a company like Tesla, whose customer base spans diverse demographics, maintaining a neutral and inclusive brand image is crucial for sustained growth. In response to these multifaceted challenges, stakeholders have called for Musk to recalibrate his political engagements. Investors like Christopher Tsai have publicly urged Musk to reduce his commitments to governmental roles and refocus on Tesla's core business operations. Such appeals underscore the growing concern that external involvements are detracting from the company's strategic objectives and operational efficiency. In Germany, Tesla's decline has been particularly striking. The company's sales have fallen drastically, even as the broader German electric vehicle market continues to grow. While competitors are seeing a boost in registrations and demand, Tesla is rapidly losing ground. Consumers in Germany, a country known for its pride in automotive engineering and innovation, appear to be turning away from Tesla. This isn't because the German public has lost interest in electric vehicles, but because they are increasingly choosing other brands, many of which offer competitive pricing, reliable performance, and come without the baggage of political controversy. A key issue influencing this backlash is Elon Musk's open support for political movements that are viewed as extreme or divisive within Europe. His endorsement of Germany's far-right party, Alternative for Deutschland, sparked widespread criticism. Musk's comments at a rally, where he questioned Germany's historical focus on remembrance and called for moving past collective guilt, did not sit well with much of the German public or its leadership. These remarks led to strong reactions from political figures and were seen as a direct interference in Germany's domestic political landscape. The backlash was swift and loud, not just from government officials, but from everyday consumers who no longer felt comfortable supporting a brand so closely tied to views they considered controversial or inappropriate. In France, Tesla's fortunes have taken a similar hit. Sales have plummeted, reaching their lowest point in years. The reaction in France has also been heavily influenced by Musk's political activities, including his public support of far-right politicians and his repeated criticisms of more progressive or left-leaning European leaders. These public stances have become increasingly visible, particularly on social media, where Musk is highly active. The result has been a significant erosion of goodwill among French consumers, who once viewed Tesla as a progressive, climate-focused company. That perception has now shifted, with many associating the brand more with political provocation than innovation. The United Kingdom presents yet another layer of complexity. Tesla's sales in the UK have dipped as well, despite the country seeing a broader surge in EV adoption. What's especially notable is that Tesla has been overtaken in new registrations by some of its competitors, including brands from China that are aggressively entering the European market. This drop in performance is not only a market issue, but also reflects the impact of political fallout. Musk's engagement with UK politics, including unverified accusations against British political leaders, has added to the tension. For many consumers, the idea of buying a Tesla has shifted from being an aspirational decision to a political statement, one they may no longer be comfortable making. This widespread backlash hasn't just played out in sales figures. On the streets and online, protests and activism have ramped up. In Germany, there have been reports of Tesla vehicles being targeted and set on fire, likely as a form of protest against what some perceive as the brand's alignment with extremist political ideologies. In the UK, activist groups have staged public stunts designed to mock and criticize Elon Musk, including one where a massive anti-Tesla message was etched onto a beach and made visible from space. These acts, while dramatic, reflect a deeper sentiment that has been building among parts of the public, a frustration with Musk's growing influence in politics and his willingness to use his platform in ways that seem disconnected from the values of the communities Tesla serves. The internal atmosphere within Tesla's European operations hasn't helped either. At the company's major factory in Germany, a large number of employees have signed petitions demanding better working conditions. Complaints have included insufficient rest breaks, high pressure from management, and concerns over workplace culture. Labor unions in Europe, which hold significant influence, are starting to turn their focus toward Tesla, advocating for improved worker rights and greater transparency. For a company that prides itself on cutting-edge technology and efficient operations, being at the center of labor disputes in one of its most important regions is far from ideal. All of this is having a noticeable impact on investor confidence. Tesla's stock has seen a steep decline, and analysts are beginning to question whether the company's leadership is properly prioritizing business needs over personal interests. Some have openly criticized Musk for spreading himself too thin across multiple ventures and for becoming increasingly involved in political matters that have little to do with Tesla's core mission. There's a growing belief among financial experts that if Musk wants to restore confidence in the brand, he will need to scale back his political involvement and refocus his attention on Tesla's product development, service delivery, and long-term strategy. What makes Tesla's situation especially difficult is the fact that many of its competitors are gaining momentum. European automakers, which were initially slow to adapt to the electric vehicle revolution, have now caught up in many ways. Brands like Volkswagen, BMW, and Peugeot are offering electric cars that not only meet performance expectations, but are also often priced more attractively. These companies also benefit from deep-rooted trust among European buyers, something Tesla is now at risk of losing. Furthermore, new entrants to the market, especially from China, are moving quickly and effectively, offering EVs with appealing designs, strong features, and competitive pricing. In an environment where trust and reliability are key, Tesla's brand struggles could push more consumers toward these alternative options. It's worth noting that Tesla still holds certain advantages. Its supercharger network remains one of the most extensive and reliable charging infrastructures in Europe. Its vehicles are still known for strong performance, advanced software features, and innovative design. However, brand loyalty can be fragile, and once it's damaged, it takes significant time and effort to rebuild. The combination of political backlash, internal discontent, and increasing competition means that Tesla will need to do more than rely on its past achievements to maintain its position in the market. A key reason for China's dominance in the electric vehicle sector is the combination of forward-thinking policy and massive industrial capacity. Over the past decade, the Chinese government has offered strong incentives to both manufacturers and consumers to encourage the adoption of electric vehicles. These include generous subsidies for EV buyers, lower taxes, and major investments in infrastructure like public charging stations. There have also been tighter emissions rules and quotas for car makers to sell a certain percentage of new energy vehicles, all of which have created a highly supportive environment for EV growth. One of the standout companies driving this growth is BYD. It has grown from a domestic brand to a global EV heavyweight. In fact, BYD recently overtook Tesla in total EV production, delivering more electric vehicles than any other manufacturer in the world. This moment is a symbolic turning point. It shows that Chinese brands are not just catching up, they are capable of setting the pace for the entire industry. Technological innovation is another big part of the story. Chinese automakers are pushing the boundaries of EV technology in a way that is impressing even long-time industry observers. BYD, for example, has rolled out a new ultra-fast charging technology that significantly reduces the time it takes to recharge a vehicle. While range anxiety and charging time have long been barriers to EV adoption, innovations like this are helping change the narrative and making electric cars more practical for everyday use. Price competitiveness is also playing a massive role. Chinese manufacturers are producing EVs that are not only well-built, but also far more affordable than many Western alternatives. This makes them particularly appealing in developing markets and in regions where consumers are more price-sensitive. BYD, among others, has launched vehicles that come in at a significantly lower price point than comparable models from Tesla or European manufacturers. These vehicles may not always match the luxury appeal of a Tesla, but they hit the sweet spot of functionality, reliability, and value for money. As a result, Chinese EV brands are expanding rapidly into international markets. In places like Southeast Asia, Latin America, and parts of Europe, Chinese electric cars are becoming an increasingly common sight. The success isn't limited to consumers either. Many governments and commercial fleets are also turning to Chinese EVs for their public transport and logistics needs. The fact that these vehicles are often more affordable and come with decent after-sales support makes them an attractive option across the board. While China's rise is most visible in production and sales numbers, it's also changing the global conversation around trade. As Chinese EVs flood international markets, they are challenging the dominance of legacy automakers from the United States, Germany, Japan, and South Korea. This has created new economic tensions, especially with countries that are still adjusting to the rapid pace of the transition to electric mobility. Western countries are increasingly implementing new tariffs, adjusting trade rules, or introducing incentives designed to protect their domestic industries from the influx of Chinese electric vehicles. These measures, however, may not be enough to hold back the momentum. The sheer scale of China's EV production and the level of government support the industry enjoys make it difficult for other countries to compete head-to-head without significant policy changes and strategic investment. In many ways, China is now setting the standard for what a mature EV industry looks like: high volume, low cost, innovation-driven, and globally oriented. For Tesla, this presents a mixed picture. On the one hand, it has long positioned itself as the gold standard of electric vehicles, premium products with cutting-edge technology. That status remains intact in many markets, particularly in North America. But in other regions, Tesla's lead is narrowing. Consumers who once saw Tesla as the only viable EV option now have a variety of alternatives that are more affordable and, in some cases, better suited to local driving conditions and infrastructure. Adding to the challenge is the fact that Tesla is no longer expanding at the same explosive pace it once enjoyed. Its market share in some regions is slipping, and average selling prices are being driven down by intense price competition. While Tesla remains an influential player with strong brand recognition and a loyal customer base, its ability to dominate globally is increasingly being tested by this new wave of competitors, especially from China. There's also a broader macroeconomic impact to consider. As more Chinese EVs hit the road, oil demand is beginning to shift. In countries where electric vehicles are gaining serious traction, traditional fuel consumption is either flattening or declining. This has implications not just for automakers, but also for energy markets, infrastructure planning, and even international relations. The world is slowly beginning to pivot away from oil dependency, and China is leading that pivot with its EV strategy. Back in Europe, the rapid entry of Chinese brands is also causing disruption. While European automakers have invested heavily in electrification, they are now racing to keep up with the speed and scale of Chinese competition. Some have started restructuring their EV portfolios, forming joint ventures, or even lobbying for tougher trade protections to slow down Chinese imports. These responses highlight just how seriously the challenge is being taken. There are, of course, risks to such fast-paced growth. Concerns are emerging around overcapacity, especially as manufacturers like BYD invest in gigantic new production facilities. If global demand doesn't continue to rise at the expected pace, these factories could become financial liabilities. There's also the question of consumer trust in newer brands, particularly in regions that have traditionally favored local or Western vehicles. Despite those risks, it's clear that China's influence over the future of the EV market is growing rapidly. Its automakers are producing at scale, selling in more countries, and investing in technologies that could shape the next decade of electric mobility. For countries and companies that want to remain relevant in this space, the message is simple: adapt quickly or fall behind. The shift we're seeing now is not just about cars. It's about which countries and companies will lead in clean technology, battery innovation, supply chain control, and sustainable transportation. The electric vehicle industry is becoming one of the defining arenas of global economic competition. And right now, China is pulling ahead. As this new era unfolds, automakers like Tesla must respond with agility, innovation, and a clear strategy. That means not only refining their products and expanding their reach, but also navigating a world where their biggest rivals might not be across town in Detroit or Stuttgart, but across the globe in Shenzhen. What happens next will help shape not only the future of Tesla, but the direction of the entire global automotive industry.